Oh, Paul, I love it. Just for you. I picked it just for you, my friend. Um, Welcome back, Tyler. It's good to have you here and Eleanor, aka Desert Mountain and Butterfly Effect. Yes, yes, I'm being sneaky in the background a bit, as my camera goes in and out of focus. I like to think that when I'm in focus, that's like my alter ego and where I'm supposed to be. And when it goes fuzzy, that's the machine like trying to pull me back in and distort me and distract me from walking away, perhaps. um, so I want to jump in and just kind of do our icebreaker the way we did last week. So last week, rather than doing a Zoom chat thing, we just jumped on mic and talked a little bit about the opening Immersion, that song. So thoughts, feelings, Paul, maybe you want to go first, given that you already kind of popped in the chat. Anything else to add or tell us about your trip a little bit, maybe? Yes.
Yes, I've rented this Sprinter van, which I've got loaded and ready to go as soon as I get off this call, and
Hmm.
headed out to the Alvord Desert in Eastern Oregon. Although I'm not getting there today, I'm driving as far as Winnemucca, Nevada, and then meeting some people in Oregon tomorrow for 3.5 days of sun and desert and just being out in nature and hanging out with a bunch of crazy people who love to photograph and just do wild and crazy things. So yeah, looking forward to that. Anxious and excited.
Nice. Well, I'm anxious to hear the stories next week. So
Yeah.
yeah. Cool. All right. Who else would like to respond to our opening immersion? Thoughts, feelings?
I'll go. I loved it, especially the song. It really resonated with me. If I kind of felt like you were going on a journey and like walk away from like what you know to like just go out of your comfort zone and see what's out there, go ahead and try.
Hmm,
I love that.
nice. Yes. Eleanor, maybe reaching for the mouse, maybe. Yeah.
Um, but not only did the words resonate, but the visuals as well.
Hmm.
Especially the beach scenes and running with the dogs. I have two, and
Nice.
my favorite place in the world is a big empty beach where there's no phone signal. So even if people wanted to get hold of me, they can't. And just mucking about and playing with my dogs, and it just made me happy.
Yes. Yeah. Uh, the kind of the scenery and just like the oneness of one human, right, out there, feet on the ground and doing something that they love, right, playing music. That really speaks to me a lot. I don't think I ever feel more understood than when I'm alone in nature, honestly. It just gets me and I just get it, right? It's in balance. And dogs are right there in that mix too. Yeah. Tyler, welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, I agree with Eleanor and Sabrina and Paul. You know, I think that the music was beautiful. It kind of takes you away. I honestly could have listened to it for another minute.
Hmm.
But it was a great way to start, this moment. So, and I love my dog. I love beaches. I love wilderness. I would go on hikes almost every day through the mountains and yeah, it's a good way for me to to connect and do some self thinking, not think too much because I can go and get into rabbit holes. But I love any chance I get to be in nature. I feel like I'm grounding myself.
Nice. Nice. Um, hmm. Every day, huh? That's awesome. Hiking every day or close to it. That's pretty good.
A trail right by the house that connects
Oh,
this little desert area. So
yeah,
I take the dog up there and she runs free, and I just look at all the mountains around me.
yeah. Are you outside of St. George? Is that where you're
Yeah.
at? Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Nice. Yeah. Beautiful Utah desert. I miss it for sure. So it's cool to hear Paul's going to the desert. So it's cool that Tyler's here with us a bit, lives in the desert. Nice. MCK, welcome in. I know you missed the song. I put it in the chat for you so you can enjoy it later. Happy to have your reactions to the song in the Wonder chat later too, if you feel compelled to do so. Okay. Well, nice little open here. So what I want to do today, or what we kind of want to do today, was lean into the idea of performance. We talked about this a little bit last week. So I have something prepared on my end, but I want to check in with everybody else and see if you have performances and things that do you want to share today, because we're gonna kind of we're gonna travel to a new planet that I don't think most of you have been to. Maybe MCK, maybe Paul, but I'm not quite sure. And that planet is a place called Friction. But we're going to do so inside of the magical boardroom that moves around in the clouds. So as we go, kind of looking back to 2 sessions ago, I know Sam isn't with us, and actually, in some ways, that's kind of compelling and interesting because Eleanor's there representing the Wonder team, and so we're going to go kind of float through the clouds a little bit via the creativity boardroom in Wonderland, and do some performances and things if everybody is so compelled. Does anybody have anything that they're kind of prepared to read, perform? Sabrina, Paul, I'm kind of looking at you a bit, but I don't know. What you got? Anything?
I have a poem. Always, I always have a poem.
Okay,
I got a
Sabrina, do you
poem.
have a poem too?
I do, yes.
You do. Okay. So I think for you two, I think we're gonna stay right here with the boardroom, just in the clouds, and then I'll kind of take us down onto the planet of Friction and go a little deeper with my story. So I think the way I'd like to do this is we'll just take one performance at a time, and then have some time and space for everybody to kind of react and ask questions. And oh, I'm excited about this. All right. So which one of you would like to go first?
I'll go first.
Yeah, go for it.
Sure. So this is called The Guest House by Rumi. This being human is a guest house. Every morning a new arrival, a joy, a depression, a meanness. Some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all. Even if they are a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture, still treat each guest honorably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight, the dark thought, the shame, the malice. Meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whatever comes in, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. Yeah, that's one of my favorite poems.
Did anybody catch that little subtle bit of confidence? Like, yeah, because that was badass. Yes, I love that. All right, reactions. Anybody have any questions? I do have one creativity question, but I'll wait and let every people to jump in.
I don't have a question, just
Or comment. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
that is one of my favorite Rumi poems, and he's an amazing poet to begin with. So thank you for that one.
Okay, question on my side. Where is this guest house? What kind of setting and scenery from your perspective, Sabrina?
I see the guest house as kind of like, I guess kind of a little bit like the soul maybe, but I see like the guest house of like the emotions, the I guess experience is the guest house, the human experience, whatever you feel that day, what comes in is the guest house, and you can, it's that like every experience that you have is for a reason, even if like the dark moments, the dark depression is to like figure out like where it's coming from and make room for it so that you can transform it into love and joy and happiness and passion. Yeah, that's what I got from it.
So I'm curious, how do you think the guest house is showing up for you today, or kind of most recent guest house visitor or interaction or kind of feeling?
Recently, I mean, I'm co-hosting a talk on Thursday. So right now I have a little bit of nerves where the guest house is like the visiting, like nerves is visiting a little bit, but excitement is also visiting because it's the first time I've ever done something like that. So, and I'm sharing it with co-workers and people I love and family too. So excitement, love, but a little bit of nervousness. I feel like right now as the visiting in my guest, like the visitors in my guest house. Yeah.
Anybody else? Lots of comments. Something I think about with this song is just kind of compelling. Like sometimes we feel not so great and we're expected to show up like we are great, right? That just ridiculous exchange that happens when you see somebody, like when you go to work, it's like, hey, how you doing? Good, you? Oh, good. Like bullshit. That's not true. Sometimes it's true, but often, right, it's total bullshit. And I know we've leaned really hard into this idea of having people just kind of show up as they are. And it's often the ones that show up not feeling great that kind of become like stars of the show a bit. It happens all the time. I was actually just in Louisville speaking, and there was a woman in the room who's really struggling with the animal personality question of the alter ego. And before long, she became a dog monkey, and I made a custom piece of art during the session for her, and we put it on the screen, and everybody thought it was amazing. And she came up to me, she's like, "That was like super cool. Thank you for doing that. That was hard for me." And I was like, yay, that was awesome. And so I just think about this, like, why can't we just show up as we are? And we don't have to be in like performance mode, go mode all the time. It's silly. It's totally silly. Okay. Uh, anything else on this one, or are we heading to provocateur land? I think we're doing it. Doing it? Yeah. Okay.
Okay, this is one of my poems. I'm going to start with a little quote. One's destination is never a place, but a new way of seeing things. Henry Miller. This poem is another one that doesn't really have a name yet. So Chance, maybe you can come up with a name for me. It was written on the island of Pantelleria, which is out in the middle of the Tyrrhenian Sea between Sicily and Tunisia, when we were visiting a lake called Venus Lake. The name of the poem might be Venus Lake. 4 flamingos in the distance dip their beaks into the mirror lake. A gentle breeze pushes the lake water in little ripples to the further shore, where we stand, feet bare, grounded, and like Venus, she of beauty, desire, love, and lust, seek to reflect with new intention, to look, see with open hearts, open minds. With feet grounded, will you forgive yourself? Will you come into your own capacious soul and dip your beak into salty water, into salty conversation, into new rooms through newly opened doors? For you cannot care for people and not care for the earth, and you cannot care for the earth and not care for people, or for 4 flamingos in the distance dipping their beaks into salty water.
Talk about a change maker poem. Holy moly.
Paul, what was that first quote again as well that you used to frame it?
Yeah, hang on. One's destination is never a place, but a new way of seeing things.
That makes me think of another quote. I'm going to go see if I can find it. There it is. The real journey of discovery consists not in going new places, but in having new eyes. Marcel Proust. It's the
Yeah, basically saying the same thing in
yeah,
different
right.
words.
Yeah, totally. Okay. Any comments, questions, thoughts?
I thought it was really, really powerful, Paul. I think for me, two of the, when thinking about kind of like the title meets something that is core, will you dip your beak? was the thing that kind of stood out to me. That's both provocative, like provocateur, but also kind of speaks a little bit to where things are going without giving it all away. And the other part was just 4 flamingos.
Right.
And
Yeah. I've always thought of it as just 4 flamingos, but I like where you dip your beak. I think that's good. That's cool.
so those kind of 2 were the ones that stood out, just because like you can also imagine like those 4
Yeah.
birds and how they both like begin and end the story. So there's something about that that is kind of cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, really nice job.
Thank you.
So Tyler, not to put you too much on the spot, but I feel like you might be that bird kind of dipping your beak in today a little bit, right? Because we've missed you the last few weeks because you've been a busy guy.
Yeah, sorry.
No, no. You don't, never need to apologize. This is a come and go, ebb and flow sort of place for sure.
Yeah, I write a lot of poetry, love poems. My favorite poem is a poem called Time, and I'm trying to find the words to it. It's about, I'm doing that right now. I wasn't ready for this.
Sure, yeah, this was kind of new, but take your time. We can slide you in when you find it too, if you do.
Yeah, for sure. It's a beautiful poem, and it's about time and how it doesn't care about you, how it doesn't, it's going to pass by no matter what you think. And it's always just a quick reminder every time I read it to just, all right, be in the moment, be here, be now. Because like I said, it doesn't care about you. It never stops. So I'm going to try to find the words because it's a beautiful poem, but it's powerful. It might, it hits you in the gut, but it always, like I said, it always opens my eyes. I used to have it in the house, but I don't anymore.
So you're telling me that this insurance agent that like works in the heart of the machine every day, technical writer, all that, you write poetry? How could you possibly do both of those things?
Well, when I was young, I was in a very bad car crash. I
Oh,
was
wow.
all through high school in a wheelchair. I got fed through a tube in my stomach. It was pretty bad, and I didn't have any friends, and so I just wrote poetry and wrote in my journal every day. And when you live like that, and especially through your teenage years where you're so sensitive and you're so you can go down different routes real quickly, and it just taught me how to appreciate life and how to not quickly judge other people. And even though we all do it, but it just taught me how to just appreciate the little things. I love friendships. I love just a quick conversation. It doesn't matter. I appreciate it all. And yeah, I know, believe me, no one would ever think that I do insurance for a living, and I usually keep that hidden.
That's amazing. Wow.
This kind of fell into it, and it just kind of wrapped me up. And I like what I do. But the word insurance has such a negative negative. What, I'm having loss of wording right now, but
Sure.
people do not view insurance like in a good way. So I try to just be honest with people, and it's kind of like I'm a good person. I just I'm in a weird industry.
So honestly, I owe you a huge thank you. I'm glad to have the kind of the stage to do it right here. Because Viridescence, after 3 or 4 years, finally has liability insurance. And it actually makes me very happy to finally have that. At a good price too. You did very well for a small business, kind of scrapping our way along. Certainly like my wife, who's very like risk kind of assessor adverse, whatever. She works in finance. Good for my company, which kind of basically means her company too, right? Is more limited liability than we even were as an LLC. So I see insurance in this current state so good. And I know you and I had such an amazing conversation about like the machine of it all and all that, right? But what's cool is there's like this thing in the Veraverse we call double agent. And what I love is that you actually, like, more often than not, people wouldn't realize you do insurance because you're kind of a creative and a sweet soul and all that stuff. And like in insurance, that's what you do, right? That's just what you do for work, what you do for a paycheck or whatever. And because of that, I have a feeling you probably bring some pretty solid heart and goodness to the insurance
Thank you.
process, right? Yeah.
Right. I can sit in a room full of people that want to eat your heart out, but
Oh,
it is what it is. I just
wow.
try, safely.
Hmm. Hmm.
But no, it's a weird industry, and I just try to keep my head up through it all. We're all in some kind of machine in some way.
Yes.
It's good to be grounded and do things like this where you instantly connect with, like, you guys are all over the place. Like, you never know what life's going to bring you, and here I am on a call with all of you. I mean, this right here is a grounding experience. Just this alone, it's awesome. I love life.
I love life. That's got to be the quote of the session. Good luck topping any. Ooh, nice. Oh man. Okay. Anybody else have anything to riff off this or ask questions to Paul or to Tyler or anything else you want to add?
Nope.
No?
That's okay. I'm newer, getting to know all of you.
I'm just sitting with
Tyler,
the yeah,
I'm
MCK.
kind
Sorry,
of
yeah, go
curious.
ahead.
I'm kind of curious what those first moments were like when you were in high school and that happened. Like, how old were you? What?
I was 14, and honestly, I don't remember the first few moments. I was in a coma for a long time, and I had to kind of come out of it, and it took a long time for me to come. I just remember high school just being scary, going through the halls in a wheelchair and just being super intimidated by everybody and wishing someone would come up and talk to you. But it's a tough age. I mean, it's, we all gravitate to people that we feel safe around. And, how are you going to relate to a kid in a wheelchair when you've never broken a bone? So it was just tough. After high school was even tougher. It was like constant surgeries up until my mid-20s, and it just, like I said, I don't even feel like I grew up until I was like in my early 30s. I don't even feel like I really stepped into the world. I already had a son at that time, so I feel like it took a while for me to step out and with my back straight and my chest out. For a long time, I wanted to be hidden. I don't want anyone looking at me, talking to me. So I was, it was tough. It was tough, but it's beautiful. Like, I formed a nonprofit in my early 20s and went around the country talking about traffic safety until I just couldn't do it anymore. I was like, I can't. But I feel like those moments really gave me some confidence too. Just speaking out. But it was tough.
Did that experience actually lead you into insurance, or was that completely disassociated from it?
It Yes and no in a way. Like, so my family had to uh file a lawsuit against the insurance company, which we ended up winning in a bad faith claim. So it was the only thing that kept my family afloat after, the car crash. But I kind of had a lot of training in it without really being trained in it. I knew what to look out for because my father's friend was a bad faith attorney and sued insurance companies, and he just taught me all about, the dirty tricks that happen and the claims that just get pushed aside. And so I feel like I came into the industry not kissing the butt of a bunch of insurance companies. I came into the industry with, like, I didn't trust any of them because I know what they can do. So in that sense, it kind of gave me a different understanding of how insurance works, because these companies, the very first thing you do when they file a claim is they look for ways to not pay it as opposed to pay it. It's instant. It doesn't matter if it's a $500 claim or a $2 million claim. The second they get it on their desk, they're picking out how to get out of paying it. That's how they make their money. So, you just kind of got to, in a way, it did. It trained me in a way. Yes and no. Like, I don't know. I honestly, I was 28, 29 years old and just needed a way out of giving speeches to high school students. And insurance was just kind of a door that opened.
Well, we'd love to hear some of your poetry at some point.
Yeah, I'd love to share it with you guys. There's one right now that I'm sitting in my 10-year-old's old room. We switched rooms this weekend and I took over his room, the office area, and he's in another room, but I still have all of his stuff here, and it makes me think of a poem that I wrote for him. So it's and I call it First Steps, and it's ready to flip the page, close the book, grab a new one. Hesitant, but these changes proving to me I grew some. I gathered a little strength. I put the tools in my pocket. I may not use them today, but good to know that I got them. For moments when facing problems, doesn't matter who caused them, but if you've got the tools in your pocket, it helps to solve them. Tools can be knowledge, strength, wisdom, respect, ambition mixed with patience. Keep hate out of your steps, because if you lower your chin, let negativity in, you'll need others more than you know. So don't be picky with friends. A powerful rhyme. No need to sell the facts. I remind myself daily, I've been to hell and back. Don't sweat always winning. Sometimes it helps to lose. A tough lesson. And remember, there's never nothing else to do. So lace those shoes up, skip routes that hurt less. Your dreams are straightforward. Good luck with your first steps. And it's to him. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. That
Say
was
that. I
great.
haven't said that in forever. It felt so good to say that just now. I can't thank you all for giving me a platform. Like I really appreciate that. You know, it's another reason things happen for a reason. And this was you guys just put me on cloud 9 just now. So thank you.
I think the gratitude comes from our side. You know, something that's really so, you know, Tyler, you kind of said something about like you're new here or whatever. It's like, I'm not so sure. I think you've probably been hanging out with us for longer than we know, because last week, Paul, Sabrina, and I especially shared our journey with like mental health challenges as it is attached often to like being a change maker, and how difficult that can be. And what we spent so much time talking about is how like creativity and writing and poetry, like that was the whole point of today, was which is wild, that in the session description for today was we're going to share some poems, and here Tyler pops back in after being gone. It's you say everything happens for a reason. It's hard not to agree with you, and for it to be so aligned with it's wild.
What a trip. So that's amazing.
We
Incredible.
are like, look at behind me. We're like up in the clouds. It is what a trip for sure. Very cool. Okay. Any reactions, comments, thoughts about Tyler's poem before we move, well, kind of move forward? I have something fun to show you before we move over to my story. Anything else to add? Okay. So I've been practicing my alter ego in the background a little bit, doing some design stuff. So first up, we have the brightness and the provocateur's poems in a visual sort of style. Thoughts, reactions, provoked feelings and such. Especially from our performers.
Did you choose not to use a flamingo in the
No, this is quick. You know, moving fast here. Come on, man. You are my like very like nitpicky. I love it because you have a vision, right? It's so funny. Paul says he's not a drawer, right? You're not a drawer. You don't name your poems and whatever. But then I start doing some support to bring art to his work, and he's like, "Could you do this and make this change?" And it makes me so happy. It makes me so happy because it's like it's there. Right? It's there. It's right there. So I don't know. I'll get your damn flamingo. Just for patience, sir.
No. For very quick, it's very cool. Thank you.
Oh, that's so funny. Brightness. How are you feeling?
I love the artwork. I think it really encapsulates, like it really like represents the poem so well, and definitely exactly how I saw it. Like was it in my mind? You know, like I have no notes, or like completely perfect. Yeah,
it works. All right. Well, you became a little bit like higher up on my list than Paul, so that is awesome. Uh, um, Paul, as I said before, you can spend as much of my time as you want bringing your creativity to life because nothing gives me more joy. All right. I have one more here. I'm going to actually show it in options. I'm going to throw this one up differently because I didn't have time to put it in. Dun, 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 dun. All right, this one, because Tyler's supposedly new here, so he says, this one you get to choose. If they resonate, we can play more too, but what do you think?
So you want, I'm going to choose one of these.
Yeah, if you like them, we can also play with it and go a different direction too, but do you like these?
I love them. It's, I think it's knowledge and growing and keeping the tools close by, like, because you need to be fixed now and then. And you need a little repair, I guess. Am I understanding these?
Yeah, totally. There's kind of like a nature in the machine thing going on here too, which is interesting.
It's awesome. I love these photos. So that bottom left one I like because it's a little more fragile.
Okay, yeah.
Because it's at the starting stages, and that kind of, I mean, for me personally, I feel like that's me right now, because I'm very, I'm strong. I could be the bottom right one, but I still feel like I'm branching out professionally, and that bottom, maybe the top right one.
You love them all. You can have them all. Don't worry. We can absolutely make that work too.
Those are powerful.
Nice. I love the like fragility and strength thing happening there too. I actually want to say thank you to all of you immensely because I've shared this a couple of times along the way. My sustainability beacon is that every shadow has a silver lining, and that's a practice, that's a philosophy, that's almost a talent. And the people in this room are showing me that trait that I definitely like take pride in and practice and want to be good at. You're showing me it in your natural ways too, and it's just a really like moving thing for me. So thank you for that. Wow. Yeah. So Eleanor, I don't know if you saw the Wonder Chat this morning that I put in, but Paul actually we took his poem and put it into a visual after a number of renditions and versions that I had to come up with because he's such a critic. And they look amazing. He got them to exactly where they needed to be. So that's something we could do with this group and share them out too. There's a number of different things there. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I saw those. I thought they were great. I loved how they all work together, but you can also take just each individual like section that was put up, and that still works, and it still is quite powerful. So yeah, I read it on my lunch break and I read it again and again. It's quite nice.
And credit to Sabrina for the inspiration a bit because she was doing that already. I think I saw that poem you shared to the Wonder Chat. I saw it maybe on LinkedIn or somewhere you shared it like a couple of weeks ago. So you had some influence on my process and the final product there. So, okay. Well, at this point, I would love to share something on my side. Mine is a comic, and it's a little bit longer. I hadn't originally planned it. It was something I told Sabrina I was going to share because it was something that it was one of my first pieces of like artistic endeavors amidst some struggle and specifically kind of attached to this idea of the Viraverse. And it has to do with Mental Health Awareness Month. And I had really enjoyed performing for you guys last week, so I would love to do it again in a slightly different style, if you would be so willing to allow me to do so. This group, I'm just really happy right now and grateful to all of you. Sorry, I'm like kind of stuck in my feels a bit here. So we'll see what happens when I start performing. It might be a total emotional train wreck. No, I can pull it together. I got this. All right, so we're gonna head to a place called Friction. And Friction is a planet of fire and ice. And it's a bit of an analogy, as many of our planets in the Viraverse are, for the fire and ice relationship between glaciers and fossil fuels, and some of how that impacts the individual person and the friction that that creates within the individual change maker. And honestly, just a person that cares, and what that can kind of be for us, do to us, give to us, take away from us. There's all sorts of things that kind of come into that space. So to Friction we travel. So this one is called Fire and Ice. And I always like to start with a quote. And Paul, thank you for doing that as well. If I am not for myself, who will be for me? If I am only for myself, what am I? And if not now, when? Welcome to the first of the Viraverse Immersive Comic Collections. What you experience here represents real people doing real things in real places, making real change. Fire and ice, they rise and they fall, they crash and they crawl. The sustainability champion knows this relationship well, as it hovers all around them every day. A relationship with a powerful but unsustainable energy source, fossil fuels. This brings guilt and frustration. The ice is, well, it's ice, and it's the Earth's thermometer for a healthy, livable human climate, these glaciers. Somewhere between this friction lies a peaceful place of energy. In the center of this oh so delicate relationship lies an oh so delicate string, a string of serenity. And this little microsphere vibrates with a quiet confidence. It exists in a balanced state. Given that it's surrounded by conflict, that balance does not come easy. It is a place of serenity that is open to visitors, but it's not easily traveled to, particularly for humans, though some of them find their way. And how long a being can stay in this wonderful place is dependent on the health of their soul. Is the soul in balance? A jump to the string is in play. If it's unbalanced, good luck finding anything but flame and frost. This is where the designer comes in, residing on his home planet of Friction these past 6 months. One of the original Vera Vigilantes has been riding the wave of chaos. One minute, the energy has flowed like a wolf on the chase, ready to strike. Another, the call to action drips and slides and crushes like a glacier melting away in the Arctic. The indigenous people living here exist with an odd mix of personality. Number one, the chaos. Number two, the zen. Or as it's become for me in this present day, angry serenity. This split existence is their strength and their weakness. Sometimes they have no choice but to swing like a pendulum, but the more they grow in life, the more often they can enjoy this time, somewhere in the center in the string. It's been a journey through thick and thin, amidst trial and tribulation, months of staring at that fucking wall. The wall that stands between humans and a sustainable existence. The sustainability champions are dwarfed by this every day, every damn day. Can we really do this? Can we really pull down these walls between human and nature, nature and the machine? Can it be reconstructed into a regenerating spin? Maybe. Why would we think so? With all the things that are going on, all the difficult circumstances that people face every day, that nature endures us, why? Perhaps it's because there's always hope we're optimistic. Or maybe it's because we, despite all of it, believe the best in humans. Maybe humans deserve that. For the designer, the progress on this has been stingy. It's there, but the price has been steep. Constantly trapped in a torture chamber of climate anxiety, passion for making the world a better place, and a desire to support his family. This Vero, or as we say, viridescent hero, has pushed on with big dreams, fierce loyalty, and strength to help others find their own strength. But that fatigue has started to set in. There has been sacrifice, inspiration, despair, and compassion, all in one weird shitstorm. Friction is a storm. Sometimes that desire to help everyone leaves our Vero picking up the pieces. There's an admirable element of selflessness here, but too much selflessness can be the most selfish thing. Saving the world is great, but without a balanced approach, friction comes into play, exhaustion creeps in, and hurt for those who love you rises. Work to the bone, innovate to the core, and dream to the stars. At what cost? Something has been found on friction, something powerful, something meaningful, something so critically important to a sustainable sustainability champion that it must be shared. You are not alone. All origin stories tend to start with a hero trying to go it alone. And it is only when that hero realizes they aren't alone, that there are other heroes, maybe even better ones, that they are able to help save the world together. This planet represents the fine line that those who will take action and walk this walk every day deal with. Will it be burnout or a regenerative and sustainable way of life? These types of beings all have superpowers, but naturally, where there is a superpower, there is some sort of kryptonite as well. This kryptonite doesn't always mean weakness, though, not in the Veraverse, because weakness is often our greatest strength. In fact, the Vera Vigilantes were founded on a sustainability beacon of every shadow has a silver lining. And the designer's journey the past 6 months has been a chaotic flow of friction. That friction has softened. Our Vero now has a new set of eyes and a clearer mind. Wow, that's wild. Flying this path built upon ice and surrounded by fire, his travels through the Veraverse have brought him to a new friend and a bit of a mentor, the Reimaginer, who resides on the moons of wisdom and possesses a compass that will lead us all to the string of serenity. I say wow because that quote that I read off of the back of Paul's was in the email signature of Sean Waters, aka the Reimaginer. So that is just kind of wild. I didn't even think about it until I just saw that happen right there with you. Story spin. Hey, everybody. My name is Chance. You know this, or at least I hope you do at this point. I am the designer, and you may be thinking, this dude's a bit of a weirdo, maybe even a bit self-righteous. You might be a bit right, but I care about this stuff. I'm passionate about it. I believe in it. And I think you do too a bit. That's what change makers do. We care. And with that, we try to do something about it. And if that's righteous, let's righteous on, my friends. I grew up in a beautiful little mountain valley called Potomac in the backwoods of Montana. And since I was a little kid, I've been both terrified and inspired by climate change. I grew up wanting to be an ecologist and help animals survive the changes to come. I was also bullied relentlessly. Yet, I still believe the very best in people. I fight for the best of us, and if you're the worst, I'm annoyingly persistent about trying to reach you in optimism. 2020 was a heavy year. For my family, it was actually a year of hope as well. My son Milo, aka Mighty Milo, aka DJ Bunny now, he was born, and it pushed me to fight harder for a better world, but it also inspired me to find a more balanced approach. And at that time, I wanted my son to see his dad helping others, but I also wanted him to simply see his dad. The designer is my push for a sustainable self, but the Veraverse is all about helping others find that too. And together we can solve global challenges we're faced with. But first, we must solve our own internal challenges. Vulnerability is key to this, as is finding a balanced soul. This will take us humans to that string. And so I share my greatest kryptonite, but what I see as potentially becoming my greatest superpower too. I live with mental illness, and I proudly share this. I live with a stress-induced anxiety and hypersensitivity condition or conditions, which causes chronic pain in my body, my mind, my stomach, my back on a daily basis. It can suck, but it often puts me in tune with myself, the world, and the people in it. Society tells me this is my disadvantage. I choose to wield it as my power. And our next issue will elaborate on that experience and the strength that I draw from it. For now, I ask you all to celebrate Mental Health Awareness Month. And I also share my gratitude to the 6 of you, 6 of us here today for doing that right here, right now, in this moment, because I think it's more important than even we might realize. That is all she wrote. Signed with immense appreciation for the group here today. Your designer. And I hope your friend Chance hanging out in here too. Holy crap. That felt really good. Tyler, I feel like you did. Wow, thank you for that.
No, that was incredible. That was amazing.
That was amazing. That was amazing. You know, it just takes so much courage sometimes to admit to certain things. And, you know, I think part of the problem that we have in the country is people don't want to look in the mirror and admit to certain things. So thank you for that. You know, more people in this country could obviously use a bit of mental health.
Just paying attention to it. Eleanor, Sabrina, across the pond, how does that feel for you? Do you feel similar way? Different cultural kind of issues, or do you feel similar?
I feel like it's something similar. It's very interesting that Paul says that, because I do think people would benefit from going within. I saw, I think around 2 years ago, a poll on a show, like on a morning news show, where they did a poll where they said, would you rather get electrocuted for like 1 minute or sit with your thoughts? And most people chose the electrocution option, which I was astounded by, being like, that's how much people don't like being in their own thoughts and listening just to their thoughts to see what comes up. They'd rather get electrocuted. And I was like, it's not so bad, you know. It can like help by just looking within, because that's how you understand yourself and your emotion, you know. I think I didn't realize how much like that scared people, and that was in Britain. So yeah.
A question before I lose it, and then I want to hear from Eleanor on this, but this is probably just planting a seed. Well, I encourage everybody to just sit with it and think about it. Are we afraid of ourselves because we are so scary? Or is it because the status quo, society, machine, whatever, makes us feel like we're not enough?
Can you ask the first
Yeah.
part of that? Can you ask the first part of that again?
Can I remember it? Are we afraid to kind of be with ourselves, to be ourselves, because we are so terrifying and scary? Or is it because of that status quo machine making us feel like we're not enough? Eleanor, what about you? How does this resonate for you? Not necessarily that question, but you can if you want.
I think it's really refreshing to hear about it spoken so openly about mental health and the journey that you've taken. I think a lot of time in the environment that I'm within, not work, but outside of work, there's a lot of situations where you want to talk to people about something quite serious, and they'll kind of like brush it off because it's not the dumb thing to talk about it so openly. And I know my other half, his workplace says that they're there for him mentally and that he can talk about these things, and it's very open. But at the same time, if he was to talk about it, it would jeopardize his role. And so it feels like there's a lot of box ticking going on to say that they've said you can talk about it, but that doesn't actually mean that you can. So then to have some the comic that you brought up be so open and refreshingly open about it, and like how that journey can go and how it can affect you, and all, everything that came with it, is it's kind of knocked me a little bit, because it's so not the done thing as much here. And I agree with Sabrina. It's almost shocking that people would zap themselves and sit with their thoughts for a moment, and it shouldn't be that way. So I completely, yeah.
I can relate to your partner's struggle, and probably one of the things that actually took me out the door at one point, for sure. I think about almost like a term, we have greenwashing, whitewashing, things like that. It's almost like neurodiversity washing a bit. It's like our machines are saying the right things, our policies, our cultures saying things like that, but the ability to actually be that, practice it, and all that, it's not real. Not unless you have the right manager, right? Or the right boss, the right team. Maybe then, and that happens for sure. So it's not bad that companies are starting to say those things, because some will start to do it, but it takes culture is a big change thing. It takes time. And it takes courage for somebody to be able to break the ice of those things. And will you do it if your job's at risk? I mean, why would you? It's bad. That's not good. Any other comments, questions, thoughts on any of this?
I think something that was really powerful for me was coming back to that sustainability beacon number 3, every shadow is a silver lining. And sometimes a weakness can be a strength, and sometimes a strength can be a weakness. And I think that resonated extra for me today.
Why? Why did it resonate?
Weaknesses are often looked at as a barrier and a challenge, and a continuous challenge rather than an opportunity. And so I think that was just a good reminder that I believe that is an opportunity, and how to keep that centered.
Keep it, hold on to it, my friend, because it's admirable. And thank you for the trust and vulnerability there. Wow. Cut that tension with the knife. Can we like poof it off into the cloud somehow? Oh, you know what we may need, actually? Brightness, would you like to take us through a presencing ritual as we wind down? Yeah? Okay. So forgive me, before I do that, I'm gonna do housekeeping crap, because sometimes you just have to lean into things and do it and get it done. I do want to share an opportunity that we have for all of you. We are starting Viridescent's first book club. We're super excited about it. It's going to take place in a wonderful place we call the Stories Realm, which is kind of parallel and adjacent to the Wonderland realm. This is the book we're beginning with. And I think we're doing this well. We're getting to know each other in a really special way. But it's this book to the right, How to Know a Person, The Art of Seeing Others Deeply and Being Deeply Seen. So I have more stuff. I'll send a few things in the chat so I can kind of summarize why we've chosen this book a bit. We're going to use this for the nature retreat group, a bunch of hikers that are going to the backcountry as guided by me and a climate activist and regenerative coach later this year. And this book is really resonating because people want to be connected in really genuine and authentic ways, and they want to do it in nature if they can. There's no better place. So with that, Sabrina, do you want to take us out with a little presencing ritual before we scatter off to whatever crazy chaos the machine has in store for us today?
Sure. Okay. So if everyone wants to focus on their breath first, you can close your eyes if you want to do this. If you feel more comfortable turning off your camera as you do this, that's cool too. So just focus on your breath and allow any thoughts or emotions that come up just to be there. And we'll do that for 1 minute. So we start that minute now. Brilliant. And if when you're ready, if you want to wiggle your fingers or toes or stretch as you open your eyes, and come back when you're ready.
Thank you, everybody. Paul, have an amazing time. Have fun. And remember, you are a courageous, provocative tiger as you go off into the desert. Yeah, tiger in the desert.
Thank you.
Have fun.
I'm
Look
gonna
forward to
take
hearing
it
from
'cause
you.
I have-
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, go
thank
ahead.
you.
Thank you so much to all of you. It was awesome.
That's fun. Artwork coming to the chat. Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.